You see so many of these old houses around here. Most of them are completely fallen apart. This one looks like it's in pretty good shape, but I wouldn't go in there. I made a pretty rough floor plan of the first floor of the house because I want to talk to you a little bit about the living slash dining room situation. So this is the floor plan in 3D, and again it's a pretty rough model. So here would be the entrance door, and then you get into the hallway. Over here you go into the kitchen. This right here is the office that we are in right now, and onto the left is the future living room. This room is actually the biggest room in the house. It is a little over 25 square meter, and we've done a lot of work in this room already. So we have ripped out the ceiling, and after that we discovered a little bit of water damage in two places actually. So we had to replace one of the load-bearing beams, and then after taking a closer look at the walls, we decided to replace them as well. It was just so crooked. So we ended up ripping out the entire walls in that room and leveled everything, the ceiling, the walls, and then put up new drywalls. Now everything is nice and straight. Now what's left for me to do is paint the room. The only thing that is left is basically the floor, and that's a little bit of a tricky one because the existing floor is broken in several areas. So on this side, for instance, I don't know if you can see it here. Here's a radiator and here's a radiator on the left. And the pipes are coming from down here. My guess is that there was water damage and they had to open up the floor and replace everything. Right now, what I'm planning to do is put this self-leveling mass, I think in Swedish it's called flytspackel. I don't know, I probably butchered that word. And yeah, to put that on so everything is nice and level. And after that, I'm gonna put in this click vinyl that I have in all the other rooms except for the hallway down here. Okay, that's it. I painted all the walls and the ceiling twice. I think I used over 20 liters of paint. I can't feel my arms anymore, so I call it a day. This house is located in Värmland near Torsby, and this is a great question actually, because I was asking myself the same thing. If I ever move to Sweden, where do I want to live? I had only been to Sweden once before, and it was more of a drive-through. It was also in winter, so I didn't really see much. I knew I didn't want to be too far north, and in the end I'm really happy where I ended up. It just happened to be like that. I didn't travel through Sweden to figure out where I wanted to live, and I explored the area here a fair bit, and I feel like this is a good spot for me. Well, yes and no, but not really. I enjoy being by myself, and I keep busy with work, and there's always something to do at the house. Sometimes I have visitors here. My mom, for instance, she came over for my birthday in July, and my neighbors, they're here basically every weekend, so for me it is a good mix of being alone and being around other people. I work from home. I'm a software developer, and as long as I have internet, I can technically work from anywhere in the world. It just happened to be like that. It was the first and the only house that I looked at here in Sweden. It checked almost all my boxes. It is off the main road, but not too far away from town or the next supermarket. It's the last house on this road. It is close to the forest, no direct neighbors, and a pretty good amount of land. This place is really nice and secluded, and there's this hill behind the house, and with the forest wraps kind of around the property, so it feels kind of embedded in nature. So would I have preferred a wooden house or a cabin? Honestly, I don't know. Well, that's a bit of a mix. There were a lot of factors. I was living in a small but nice apartment in Germany in the center of a city for I think the last 8 years, and I liked it there. But I grew up in a village, and I kind of wanted to connect with nature again, if that makes sense. Life for me became mundane, and years just kept passing by. I think I would have stayed in Germany, but housing prices are crazy, and I'm just not willing to pay off a loan for the rest of my life. Sweden in that sense is much more affordable, and then after my relationship ended, after the pandemic, I was like, now or never. Sweden has always been on the top of my list, and it just felt right, with the slower pace of life, the quiet, the landscape, the nature. So that's how I ended up here. I really appreciate the mentality of the people here in Sweden. Even if it's just a phone call with the authorities, people are generally very helpful and friendly. That's definitely a bit different from what I'm used to in Germany. Also, everything feels a bit slowed down, but in a good way. This is a little hard for me to explain because it's more of a feeling. Also, you have everything available to you, like huge supermarkets, and then when you go in there are never really many people in there at the same time. It is hard for me to explain what I mean by this, but it feels serene and comforting, if that makes sense. One thing that stood out to me when I came here is the light, the colors, the sunrise, the sunset. There's just a different quality in the light up here in the north, and it surprises me every day. I wonder if that's just me or if anyone else has noticed that. On the flip side, my biggest letdown so far is the food. There's just so much fast food around here, which is strange because there are farms here everywhere, and people go hunting and things like that, so that would make for some beautiful traditional restaurants. The everyday options don't have the variety or quality I was used to in Germany, at least not in this area.